welcome to another edition of the House Whisperer Show on WWDB Talk 860 and WWDBAM.com. I'm Barry Reisman, inviting you to stay tuned for expert advice about maintaining your house from the roof to the basement and everywhere in between, featuring professional home inspector Jack Milne. And Jack has a fascinating guest with him today, and I'm going to say hello to Jack and let Jack tell everybody who is with us on today's special program.
Well, good morning, Barry. How are you?
I'm terrific.
Yeah, today we have a great opportunity of having Mike Cantor, one of my sponsors, to talk about rodents, be they mice or other little critters that want to try to make their way into your home, especially with the weather changing. And Mike is the owner of a company called Pest Blaster, and we've been working with Michael now probably 6 or 7 years, and they help us through doing wood-destroying insect inspections, pest control, mold testing, radon testing, and Mike's been one of my sponsors over the years for my radio. And you know, Mike, I want to welcome you aboard today.
Oh, appreciate you having me.
Well, before we kick into the topic, I want to just thank all my sponsors. And Michael, you know, again, from Pest Blaster, why don't you give them your contact information?
Our New Jersey number is 609-393-0606, Pennsylvania 215-295-5555.
Thank you, Michael. And, of course, Tri-County Inspection Company. We've been conducting professional home inspections since 1985. Our Bucks and Montgomery County number is 215-295-2030. Our South Jersey number 856-853-4224. Barrow Exterminating also conducts termite and radon testing and helps us in the lower portions of Philadelphia, Delaware County, and Chester County. And their phone number is 610-586-5640. Bucks Mountain Inspections, they do on-site sewage evaluations as well as design. So if you've been in that house for a little bit too long and you got foul odors coming from your lawn, I think it's time to give Rob a call at 215-669-4213. And, of course, BrainFlushGear.com. You need that kind of unique sportswear. BrainFlushGear.com can help you out. So typically I go right into my email box, but I want to spend as much time with Michael today as I can. But I ask that you email me at thehousewhisperershow@gmail.com, or you can listen to previous shows at thehousewhisperershow.com. So today's topic is how to prepare your home from the invasion of mice. And, Michael, just as a little bit of background, you know, the leaves are falling. We're out there with our rakes pulling the leaves and debris away from our foundation walls. And, Mike, let me ask you, there it is. How do you keep mice away from the home and ultimately from accessing the home?
Well, that's a very good question. Like you said, when you're out there raking the leaves, you want to make sure you get all that debris off your lawn. You want to rake up all the loose leaves, any loose branches, make sure your yard is nice and trim, and right away you're helping eliminate a problem. Mice are attracted to areas that have heavy debris. So if you have overgrown grass, a lot of leaves around your property, that's going to be an area that they're going to come to for limited exposure. Once they get there, then it's only a matter of time before they decide that they want to come into your home, or at least try to come into your home. So you want to take a good walk around the foundation of your home, inspect it, and make sure that any cracks or any openings are properly sealed. Mice can access a hole the size of a dime, so even the smallest of openings should be sealed up. You want to check any lines that run into your house, specifically like gas lines and air conditioning lines, and make sure that they're sealed up. And, you know, you can use anything from silicone caulk to foam insulation, which we find works the best in these situations.
I do find that they do manufacture different types of foam insulation, one that expands like tremendously and one that expands minimally.
Yes.
And so be careful as to the type you buy. Are there specific brands, Mike, you know, that are designed for rodents?
I think Tough Stuff makes one now that's specifically for insects and rodents. I've used it a couple times and I've had success with it, so that's pretty much the brand we use.
I've also seen, and tell me, is this a character trait with mice? They seem to like run along things like walls, and uh, um, they stick really close to the house. They don't seem to run out in the open areas. They seem to channel
Yes,
around perimeters.
They'll stay around perimeters because it's safe. If they walk out in the open, they're more exposed as opposed to just running along the baseboards or the exterior right up against the house. So that is true.
Now, let me ask, how can they access areas or access homes from areas that are above ground level?
Well, mice can walk vertically up anything, so your downspouts or anything that's connected to your house, they can walk straight up and, get on an overhang and access, soffits and things like that. If they do, you want to make sure that everything up higher, soffits, gable vents, things like that, are all properly sealed, that there's no openings. If your gable vents have bigger openings, you can even put screening over them to prevent them from getting access into the attic, because generally when mice get into your attic, that's where they're coming from. They're going straight up the house and finding openings higher up to get right into your attic space.
I can't tell you, Michael, how many houses I've been in and you see these mice trails.
Yeah.
Through the insulation, the blown-in insulation. You
see droppings everywhere. That usually is a tell when you're in an attic, that they were up there or that they are up there. And even nesting materials, they'll bring in grass, straw, leaves, things like that to make a comfortable nest with, along with the insulation.
I know a number of years ago now, my wife was having problems with her oven, and so we called somebody in, and they said, "Do you have a dog?" And we said, "Yeah." And they said, "I said, why?" He goes, "Well, let me show you something." And when he pulled the bottom pan out below the oven, here there was like I'm calling it a mountain, but it was probably a 6-inch round pile of dog food. So here this rodent somehow was getting from my kitchen across my drop ceilings in the office out to the garage, got into the dog food, and brought each kernel back.
Gee.
And I can't imagine how many trips he took to complete this feat.
That's what they do. Once they get into the home, they have free roam, and they're going to go after food, and, that's what they're doing. They're coming in to nest. They're continuously mating, so there's generations being born constantly, and, they have to feed them, so they're constantly hoarding food and bringing it back to their nest.
Well, what can be done inside the home to prevent them from infesting it?
The first thing and the main thing, really, is sealing off any lines that run from a basement or a crawl space. And this generally includes things like plumbing pipes that go into your kitchen or into bathrooms, gas lines running up to the stove, and if you have like baseboard heat, like the heating lines that run into the floor. Generally, besides an attic, a mouse is going to infest a crawl space or a basement. So once they're in there, that's the comfortable spot for them. They're going to try to search the home looking for food, but if you can limit their access to the main levels, you're going to limit, the likelihood of them infesting the home or not being able to find food and having to leave and try to find it somewhere else. You also want to make sure that, if in your kitchen all your food is properly sealed up. The first sign of mice, you want to make sure no food is left out in the open. Like your dog food, you don't want to leave that out, especially at night, sitting on the floor. Because like you said, they're going to go right after that. That's easy access. They'll bring it right back to their nest. Also, you want to make sure garbage cans are sealed too, because once they get inside, that's another easy spot for them to access for food.
Now, in a lot of homes, I see like steel wool, almost like Brillo pad, material, the stuff between the pipe and the penetration.
Steel wool works. I mean, I have seen cases where they've gotten around it, but again, you can go back to the foam insulation on some of those things. You just need to make sure you can access them, so you don't want to seal them up too tight. You know what I mean? Because if you have to replace the plumbing or some kind of line, you want to be able to access it. So steel wool is a popular solution for the interior of a home.
Now, let me ask you, how do you treat a home for mice? What are your methods of attack?
Well, there's different methods depending on the situation and also what the homeowner is comfortable with. I find that baiting treatments, not only are they the most common treatment, but they're also the most effective treatment. And in this situation, we basically place bait in all the common areas that mice would be active in, basically including basements, crawl space, garage, kitchen, attic spaces. And they're placed in boxes, and in some situations, if there's pets or young children involved, they're actually locking boxes, which nobody can access. Once the poison's placed, the mice are, they're going to be attracted to it. They're going to go after it. And as they eat it, they become dehydrated. So they have to find a source of water. Generally, there's no accessible water inside the home for them, so they have to go outside to find it. And the way the poison works is it becomes active once they drink the water.
Well, on that happy note, we're going to have to take a quick break, but I know you have a lot more to tell us, and I'm listening to every single word so I can keep the mice out of my house. You're listening to the House Whisperer Show. Jack Milne is here with us every week, and today our special guest is Mike Cantor, owner of Pest Blaster. And guys, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Talk more about mice right after this.
Boro Exterminating has been specializing in wood-destroying insect inspection and control for over 40 years, serving Philadelphia and the surrounding counties. All inspectors are state certified and ensure providing their clients with professional inspections and treatments. Boro not only performs conventional termite treatments, but also handles special services like historic buildings and homes with wells, creeks, or ponds. The client is assured that all treatments will be performed safely when you hire Boro to do the work. They also provide radon testing in their service area. Boro's full-time office staff is available to help you schedule an appointment. Just call 610-586-5640 or send an email request to boroinspects@verizon.net. That's 610-586-5640 or email at boroinspects@verizon.net.
Specially created t-shirts by BrainFlushGear.com offer the extreme sports enthusiast an opportunity to have a clothing line available that suits their sport. BrainFlushGear.com understands that when we get the moment where we can jump on our motorcycles, wave runners, surfboards, snowmobiles, or skateboards, it can be priceless. They offer custom artwork including silk screening, transfers, and embroidery. Speak to one of their consultants today, and they'll help you create your own Brain Flush. Visit BrainFlushGear.com or email them at contact@BrainFlushGear.com.
For your septic inspection and testing needs, please consider Bucksmont Inspections. They've been serving the Bucks and Montgomery County areas for over 15 years. As members of the Pennsylvania Septic Management Association, the Pennsylvania Association of Sewage Enforcement Officers, and the Pennsylvania Association for Professional Soil Scientists, Bucksmont Inspections can inspect your existing septic system or test for your new septic system placement. Please call Rob Bowie at 215-669-4213 and say you heard their ad on the House Whisperer Show.
As the weather gets cooler and the temperatures drop, the bugs might slow down, but the rodents don't stop. Mice and rats begin to invade homes during the fall and winter months, looking for food, warmth, and a comfortable place to nest. Don't wait for pesky rodents to invade your home. Fight back. Have your home baited and ready for their attack with Pest Blaster. Whether preventative or a full-blown infestation, give Pest Blaster a call at 215-295-5555 and they can discuss the solution to your problem. They also offer humane animal removal services for a wide variety of wild animals, damage repairs, and cleanups. Call them today at 215-295-5555 or check them out at pestblaster.com, servicing both New Jersey and Pennsylvania. Pest Blaster, 215-295-5555 or pestblaster.com for all your pest control needs.
Tri-County Inspection Company has been providing professional home inspections, commercial inspections, and historic property evaluations for over 25 years. Tri-County Inspection Company covers 13 counties, serving both New Jersey and Pennsylvania. They've performed inspections for over 70,000 clients and are members of the American Society of Home Inspectors, as well as the Pennsylvania Home Inspectors Coalition. They are licensed in both Philadelphia and New Jersey. For all of your real estate transactions, call Tri-County Inspections at 215-295-2030. For their New Jersey clientele, call 856-853-4224. In PA, call 215-295-2030. In New Jersey, 856-853-4224.
Our house is a very, very, very fine house with 2 cats in the yard. Life used to be so hard. Now everything is easy 'cause of you. And la, 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 la.
And we are back. You're listening to the House Whisperer Show with Jack Milne every week at this time on WWDB. And Jack's very special guest and very important topic, especially around this time of year, is Mike Cantor, owner of Pest Blaster. And Mike is talking to us about keeping the mice on the outside.
Yeah, before we took a break, Barry, we were talking about how the poisons work that Mike distributes around the house. So we were chatting about it's actually difficult for mice to find a source of water in the home. So they have to exit the exit the house anyway, looking for that source of water. And then, Michael, again, what happens is once they start to ingest the water, it allows the poisons to activate.
Yeah, it activates the poison, and they tend to die outside and not in the home. You just want to make sure, if you have a pet that if you leave its water out at night, you want to pick it up, dump it out, and don't leave it sitting out overnight, because that's easy access for the mice to get water. Also, if you have any leaky pipes or things like that in your basement or your crawl space, again, you want to make sure that's something that's rectified prior to putting poison out, because that's what they're going to go right to the most accessible water source for them, and you don't want them drinking water in the home and dying in your walls or in areas where you don't know where they are.
I know, if my folks go and hit the Home Depot and the Lowe's and the big box stores. I mean, I think that, again, probably the most popular mousetrap is the one with the snaps, spring. There's glue pads. Anything you can advise, Mike? I mean, are they?
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of customers that are just anti-poison. They're not comfortable with poison being in their home, whether it's children or pets or just the fact that they just don't want poison in their home. So there are non-poison methods of treatment. And like you said, they include placing glue boards and snap traps around the home in area. You have to do a full inspection of the home and find the areas where you see droppings or you see evidence that they were at, and you place boards and snap traps in those areas. It does work. It just takes more time to eliminate the infestation, and it can also involve multiple visits on our end back and forth, because we have to check the progress. We don't want to have dead, mice stuck on glue boards dead in someone's home. So that method does work. It's just more time-consuming, and it is more costly to the customer.
Where do you think the best place to put, like, the glue boards? I've seen them, like, near attic accesses sometimes, and the snap traps maybe in corners. I mean, are there specific areas that you have better success with the homeowner? Say, let me try this first.
Well, if we're talking about an attic, like you said, glue boards, they're good around, vents, and if there are any loose soffits or open, daylight coming in through certain areas, those, you put them down there too. But like you said before, going around the perimeter, they usually stick to the perimeter. In an attic, it's a little different, though, because the insulation's soft. They know nobody's up there, so they basically just roam free. So you really, in an attic space, you would go crazy just putting boards in all different locations, snap traps in all locations. But when you go to the lower levels, like a basement, if you can get like where the sill plate is, it's good to put boards and snap traps on the sill because that's usually a popular area for them to run around at. You also have to be careful when you're placing things like that in areas where people are going to be because the homeowner might know it's there, but if they have kids or people over, you just don't want to have glue boards sitting out on the floor or snap traps sitting out on the floor where somebody can come in contact with it not knowing that it's there. And believe it or not, we've had situations like that arise in the past.
Now, let me ask you, do you ever treat homes to prevent mice from infesting?
Yeah. A lot of our regular customers have their homes baited actually this time of the year. So if mice do access their homes, they know that they're protected against an infestation as opposed to having to call us once the mice are already in there and they're comfortable and, possibly already reproducing. We do this automatically for like our monthly and quarterly customers, but by having the home pre-baited, you're basically protecting yourself from having a full-blown infestation. If a couple mice get in, the poison's already out there, or the glue boards and snap traps are already out there, so you're going to be more prone to eliminate the problem before it becomes an overblown infestation. We can also bait the exterior of a home, and we use heavy-duty hard plastic locking boxes that have a cement base that keep them secured. And these are good for people that live around like heavily wooded areas or farmlands or by lakes and rivers because those areas just seem to get heavier rodent activity compared to others. Basically, these boxes give the mice access to food on the exterior, and that will significantly reduce the likelihood of them trying to enter the home looking for food. These boxes work very well. The problem is they just have to be maintained at least on a monthly basis to assure that they're going to be effective.
Now, Mike, I know we have a few more minutes, but what other animals or rodents try to access homes, during the fall and winter months?
Well, I would say besides mice, squirrels really seem to be the biggest home invader this time of year. They breed in the winter, and they need a safe and warm and secluded area to do so. They're known mainly to infest attic spaces, and they go up there and they create a nest for their young to get through the winter. Besides squirrels, I would say raccoons are probably also a major concern to homeowners this time of year. Like the squirrels, they're also breeding. Well, they don't always breed in the winter. They can really breed anywhere from January to like springtime, but we do come in a lot of cases where raccoons are breeding January and February in an attic space. And, they can be nasty. So if you hear something sounding very heavy in your attic, you want to make sure to call someone right away.
Well, one of the other services, Mike, that I didn't bring up earlier is that if you do have any type of infestation, regardless of the size of the creature or critter, Pest Blaster also can make the repairs to the damage that has been sustained by those animals. So
we certainly do, yes.
So not only can you get rid of them, but you can also make the repairs to the members that need it. Any other items, Mike, that you can think of before we have to sign off?
Well, just going back to what we were talking about before with the mice, a couple things that I didn't have a chance to point out. As far as preventing them from getting inside the home, the garage door, you really want to make sure that there's a good sweep on that garage door and that you can't see daylight when you're inside your garage looking out, towards the outside of it. Mice do infest garages a lot also, so that's really an important thing. And also to make sure you have good weather stripping around your entry doors because that's always another hot spot for mice to access a home. A lot of people also keep like bird seeds and grass seeds in their garages, and the average person just keeps them sitting in a bag on the floor. Mice will go after that right away. So if you do keep bird seed or grass seed stored in your garage over the winter, it's best to keep it locked up and secured, whether it's in a Rubbermaid or something where it's not accessible to mice, because they will go after it and it will attract them to that area right away.
You know, here's a food for thought too. I mean, this time of year for me, I seem to get crickets. And with the garage door down, even if I'm getting crickets, that could be a gap large enough for a mouse to slip through.
Exactly, yep.
So I think I'm going to be replacing my weather stripping pretty soon. It seems like we had a cricket crazy fall and summer this year.
Hoping there's no mice in my house. I'll be listening and watching for mice. Before we go, Mike Cantor, I wonder if you can give us your contact information for people who want to contact PestBlaster.com.
Sure. New Jersey residents can contact us at 609-393-0606, and residents of Pennsylvania can contact us at 215-295-5555, and we invite everybody to check out our website at www.pestblaster.com.
Again, Michael, thank you for coming on board today. It's always appreciated. As it is Sunday, I always like to say, please spend time with friends and family. Those 48 hours off are precious. And next week, I'm thinking of bringing on one of our fellows from Bucksmont Inspection so that we can talk about on-site sewage systems. So, Barry, again, I want to thank you for your assistance with the show, and we'll see you next week on The House Whisperer.
Well, don't forget to tune in again next week for another edition of The House Whisperer Show with professional home inspector Jack Milne. He talks to houses, and he hears what they say when they talk back. To listen to previous programs, or if you have any questions, visit thehousewhisperershow.com. That's thehousewhisperershow.com. And once again, thanks to our very special guest, Mike Cantor, owner of PestBlaster.com. Thanks so much for listening to WWDB Talk 860 and WWDBAM.com.
Very fine house with 2 cats in the yard. Life used to be so